Virtual team building activities for large groups. I'm gonna keep this in the shot. Nah. This video is getting published in late 2024. We're 4 years past COVID. And 4 years ago, we were like, how do we do virtual? It's 2020, oh my gosh. And now I've noticed that we still are meeting remotely quite a lot, many of us. And if you're on this video, you probably are. But we've settled for really lousy virtual events, meetings in general, especially when there's a lot of people involved. And so we've gotten into this rut and kind of fallen into this bad meeting habit where we just let large meetings be consumption only. We say, oh, some people don't like breakouts, ditch them. How are we gonna get, like the chat is kind of clunky, there's too much, when you got 400 people on, it's too busy. In this video, I'm gonna teach you how I lead really phenomenal virtual team building initiatives for organizations like Intel and State Farm Insurance and US Space Force and others. But I'm gonna share the 2024 version where the nuances of having settled into the last 4 years, we gotta overcome those. Also virtually, for the most part, everything that I'll share with you, you can do across any platform. So they're platform agnostic, as long as you have some method of interaction. If you're hosting a webinar only, like people can't even use the chat, etc., why are you watching a video about team building? You can't build a team if people can't actually interact in some way. So they will require some chat access. And most people might say that they don't like breakouts in 2024. And in this video, I will share a renewed framing of how to do breakouts actually really well, using a piece of tech that's come out specifically over Zoom that might blow your mind. So the first exercise, one of my favorites, it just always works if you lead it well. And it's this idea that I call collaborative journaling. And so the idea is that if you've got a group of, let's just say for math's sake, 500 people, all on a Teams call or a Zoom call or whatever else. That means that there are 500 sets of life experience, perspectives, ideas, etc. And so if you choose the right question, the right prompt, you can harvest a whole bunch of that knowledge in the chat. But typically in 2024, we've settled into using the chat like this. Hey everybody, just like let us know where you're calling in from. Bunch of random states and countries come flying through the chat. I don't know that helps build any teams. So this can be used in a couple different places in a meeting. It could be used as an unofficial start where right as people are coming in to set the tone for contribution, you say, hey, as you're coming in, can you just take a minute and think about the like 10-word answer to this question? So not just one word, but what is something you'd like to do more of? And give 10 words or more, give us a little bit of specificity. And so that's like the entry point, collaborative journaling. You just invite everybody to write out a little bit more thoughtful response. Now, as a few minutes into the meeting, after you set the purpose and you've shared where things are gonna go and kind of the agenda for the day, you might do some really thoughtful, intentional connection before content. And this is the real collaborative journaling. You carve out, let's say, 7 minutes at minimum, and you choose a prompt that allows people to connect to each other and to connect to the purpose of why they're there. And you put up that prompt on the screen or you share it in a question or whatever else. And this is important. You specifically say, I'm gonna put up a timer for 2 minutes. We're gonna all collaboratively journal. I want you to just free write out your response to this prompt or this question for 2 minutes. So at the end of that 2 minutes, we're all gonna press enter at the same time. And this is important because A, it avoids groupthink because you have all 500 responses coming through at once. And instead of like creating this jarring, lots of response, you just streamline the sending of responses, but you also break the terrible norm that we're in of just typing sips and bits and bytes into the chat. And you're saying, no, the chat is just a place where we can write. So write something meaningful. You give people 2 minutes to write something meaningful, and what comes through the chat are like thoughtful paragraphs instead of meaningless quick phrases. Now, the magic of meeting virtually and doing team building virtually is that 500 people can all speak at once and it only takes 2 minutes. Prompt, 2 minutes write, enter, boom. But real listening is being able to be changed by the other person. And so you've got to, in collaborative journaling, you've got to then create a timer, I'd say for 2 to 5 minutes for people to scroll through and read colleagues' responses, read other participants' responses, and maybe give them a mission as they read. So read to find something that you really needed to hear. or read your colleagues' responses to find somebody specifically that you really connect with that you might want to reach out to after this meeting. Or if your goal is really to team build, you can have people write responses, and then most chat platforms offer you the ability to reply to specific responses. And you could say, take 2 minutes and read through your colleagues' responses, and then hit reply and continue the conversation. And you set a timer, play music for 10 minutes, and what happens is, in a very introvert-friendly way, you're exchanging all this information in a really dense period of time that can be a little bit busy in the chat, but you're actually exchanging knowledge, you're making connections, you're creating future excuses for people to talk to each other later on at the next staff meeting or when you get together for your annual summit in person, right? Collaborative journaling. Hasn't failed me yet, as long as your prompt doesn't stink. If you want a ton of really, really good prompts, I've got printable versions of these questions you can hold up. And 2 activities from now, I'm gonna share a digital resource that you can have people just send a URL to people, no email sign up, none of that crap. And people can just jump right into it and allows for some really great virtual team building opportunities. If you want the advanced level of the collaborative journaling, collaborative book writing. And I led this once with a group, I was facilitating a group of 150 other speakers, authors, facilitators. And I came up with a series of 6 questions that if they answered them, I thought that the collection of their answers could be valuable enough to put in a book. So for example, one of the questions was, what is one of your absolute favorite coaching questions to ask a client? So I got a response with 150 really awesome questions from experts in their field. And so I had that submitted instead of the chat. I created actually a form where people submitted all these and they took about 8 to 10 minutes to fill it out. And that created 60,000 words from 150 people. So in 10 minutes, we actually wrote a 60,000 word book. A book, typical nonfiction book, is about 60,000 words. And so in 10 minutes, we co-wrote a book. And then the promise was the next day, my team went back and formatted it and made it something cool in a Google Doc and then shared it out to people so they could jump to specific prompts and chapters, if you will, to read people's insights all collected in a little bit of a neater, more interesting, compelling way. This is really easy to do with AI now, right? You can have AI format it how you'd like it. So you can say if the prompt in your form or your collaborative journaling prompt was, what is one really smart piece of advice you've received in the last couple of years? You could then plug all those answers into ChatGPT or whatever else and say, hey, can you turn all these pieces of advice into a 500-word narrative story? I don't know what AI is gonna do, but it's gonna figure something out, weaving in some people's brilliance. And so collaborative book writing. That could be a really novel, fun initiative that could fill anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours of a group's time, meaningfully contributing to something that's useful far beyond just that day. Okay, Zoom opened up this feature that just quietly eked out and nobody's talking about it and I don't know why, but you can now split people up into breakouts based on their responses to a poll. If I sent everybody out a poll that said, would you rather talk about cats, dogs, or a work project? And I sent that out and everybody answered their polls. I can, with one button click as the host of a Zoom meeting, I can split everybody into not just 3 giant groups of cat people, dog people, and work project people, but I can say I want groups of 5 with people that love cats and groups of 5 with people that love dogs, etc. So one button click and you immediately teleport people, quite literally teleport people, into a conversation with their colleagues that they chose to be in. And so think of the thoughtful poll response, and it's an awesome way to think about hosting a virtual event, almost like having tracks of a conference. So which session do you want to go to? Which conversation do you want to go to? You vote, split people out, and let them be in conversations that they chose to be in. If you want to see this happen live, I'm hosting this, for the first time, I'm hosting this Connectors Summit, which is a live virtual event that I'm facilitating, a whole series of sessions where I'm both teaching you and going deeper into content, hot seating, taking your current challenges, questions, etc., and turning them into the content, and also facilitating a whole bunch of different interactive exercises virtually. And so if you want to see in a virtual event run really, really creatively, you should check out the link in the description and come join me at the Connector Summit. I would love to have you there, and it'd be an awesome way to both experience and learn live, which you can only do so much of in a YouTube video. Saving perhaps the best for last. I don't know how you came to this video, if this is your first video or your 90th, but years ago, I created this deck of cards called We Connect cards. And it's just a really good set of questions to help people connect and actually build sustainable connections with each other. And a couple years ago, I got inspired by COVID. There we go. A couple years ago, inspired by COVID, created a digital web app version of them. So if you just go to We Connect Card, we'll just put the URL here, weconnectcards.com. No email sign up, no nothing. You can just get a digital form of the cards. And so when I'm leading virtual sessions, I'll put up a QR code. It's not this QR code, but I'll put up a QR code to a group, and I actually have them scan it on their computer with their phone or their whatever device they're on. They scan that QR code, it opens up the app, and I'll invite people to choose a question you would like to answer in the chat. And then we go back to the collaborative journaling, but with prompts that people chose for themselves to really help connect, share information, etc. Creates a whole bunch of choice. There's also a digital version of the We Engage cards that I have, these cards with quotes on one side and images on the other. And you can flip them back and forth in the digital app, and that creates some really phenomenal opportunities for virtual team building. Your time is really precious. Thank you for paying me attention. I'm Chad. Have an awesome day.